they mortgage their future. They say, hey, our TV rights for the next how many years was it?
25 years.
25
25.
years. We're
10%
gonna
for
sell
25 years.
we're gonna sell a 10% of it for $200 million right now, and it's worth at least, like, if not disregarding inflation, it's worth 100 million or a billion or something like that over the 25 years. So clearly, money now is better than money, maybe money in the future. Um, and then they did the same thing with the Barcelona store, and with that, they
Mhm.
got all these players, so many players, way more players than you would expect. You're going to have an advantage over every other team. That is the whole point of financial fair play,
Yeah.
that you can't just buy players way more than any other team because of some rich owner or going into debt. If you do that, then that's not financially good for yourself for the future, and that's the whole point of financial fair play. It's unfair and it's not good for you in the future. Well, guess what? That's what Barcelona just did. How is no one talking about it? How is that not the biggest story? Not oh, look what Barcelona's doing. I'm saying no, what they're doing is against the rules
Mhm.
for
Yes.
what has been set up, and it's bad for them. It's bad for the sport of football. It's bad for every other team they have to compete against, and it's bad for the players because guess what? They're having trouble paying the players already. So you're telling me that, like, even if all this works out, that they'll somehow be able to pay them? No, they're still $800 million in debt.
Yeah.
I know they might be able to, like, refinance some of that, but guess what? It's unbelievable. That's not a solvent solution. That's not good for Barcelona, for the players, for the league. It's not good for anyone. So I'm not saying that I would have done something different in their circumstances. I understand how difficult it is, but it is unfair. And now Derek can complain about how it messed up Chelsea because
Yeah,
it messed
like
everyone up.
yeah, cuz like they basically came to Chelsea, or a few Chelsea players, during the January transfer window of 2021 or 2022, and they talked to Marcus Alonso, they talked to um, Christensen, and they talked to Aspilicueta, um, and they signed verbal, or like they signed personal terms with Barcelona during the January transfer window, um, to come over during the summer. So those are already pre-planned transfers. They were trying to bolster their defense.
Quick
Um,
question: did Aspilicueta play as captain in the last game? Did
Yesterday,
he captain?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Um, I'll get there in a second. So one of the first transfers Barcelona made was for Christensen. So they made it a priority to get a decently good young center back that wasn't starting at a top team. So they picked him up. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, go to Barcelona, like try to like bolster your career. Like, that's a good move for him, sure. And then Barcelona came out, um, and we were looking at Chelsea. Were looking at Rafinha. We're trying to do a Premier League transfer from Leeds to Chelsea, trying to get Rafinha. Supposedly, Rafinha already agreed to personal terms again in the January transfer window with Barcelona. Um, but Leeds didn't want to sell to Barcelona. They wanted to sell to Chelsea because we do better business. Um, but the player Rafinha held up Leeds for it was probably for like two or 3 weeks, because Chelsea already met with Leeds. They already had the terms signed and everything. It just needed to be approved by the player. And he held up for Barcelona. And then Barcelona would go and get Lewandowski. They go and get Kessié, who's another big midfielder from AC Milan. Um, who else did they get? Um, they're about to secure Marcus Alonso. They got Kunde, or Kunda, the French center back, um, which was a big Chelsea target to reinforce their defense, because we lost um, Antonio Rudiger to Real Madrid. So I can officially say probably not the same fury as Real Madrid players have against Barcelona, but I can understand why Real Madrid fans hate Barcelona so much. Um, because like to me, like they came out and totally like stripped apart my club, used our scouting projects as their scouting projects, and hijacked the three of our transfers. Um, just because they sold 25 years of their TV rights or whatever. So it's just like I've been calling for Chelsea to sue them, for Leeds to sue them. I've been calling for Frankie De Jong to sue Barcelona because technically right now Frankie De Jong has not signed a new contract with Barcelona, and if he stays at Barcelona without signing a contract and without moving clubs, um, that's the reason why La Liga has banned all the new transfers from being registered because Frankie De Jong has is like the not the tip of the iceberg. He's like the key factor, the key wage bill they need to get down to get under that mark to be able to talk to La Liga to register the players. And so that's been going on, since the beginning of the transfer season. They've been talking to all these players. They convinced I don't know who they convinced. I'm pretty sure it was Pepe. Um, is Pepe and I think Aubameyang. There's like 3 or 4 players who they've just signed like a year or a year and a half ago to already take wage cuts, and they need Frankie De Jong to take another wage cut um to be able to play these superstar players they just paid what like 150 million, 200 million for. So
And it's not even the complicated part is that it's not even just like it's to get them under this supposed like game plan, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean that they'll successfully be able
yeah,
to continue to pay their wages. It doesn't mean that anything will work out. And then that's not even taking into account next year. Are you
hmm
telling me that like this game plan of Xavi, who's a pretty new coach, like they've been playing well, but it's Barcelona, they have incredible talent. But you're saying that it's going to pay off and that they're going to be in the Champions League winning it year after year? I don't think so. Guess what? PSG hasn't won the Champions League.
yeah,
Like is it going to pay off financially? How? You don't have a name like Messi. No matter how many good players you have, Rafinha is an incredible player, but he's not Messi.
no,
He's not bringing in those lost Messi wages, or not what the income like from shirt sales and everything else.
exactly, yeah,
It's unbelievable. So I believe it's bordering on criminal. I think that the fact that FIFA hasn't done anything about it is unbelievable. And so I don't have any accusations. I just think that people need to open up their eyes and call it for what it is. Don't say, "Oh, look at them mortgaging their future." No, they're actually playing different rules of the game. They're
yeah,
actually doing things that are unfair to other teams, and this needs to stop. This needs to end. And I don't know how you can fix it because, like I said, are all is Chelsea going to get Rafinha somehow out of nowhere? No, like it's hard. You can't
yeah,
undo these
yeah.
things, but
You can't undo transfers.
and
Um,
I bet that's what Barcelona's betting. If we just do it, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Do
yeah.
you think this has to do with the Super League that they want to start? That they're challenging UEFA and
Could
FIFA,
be.
saying, "What are you going to do to
What are you
us?
gonna do? Yeah,
We're
Yeah,
gonna start our own Super League, and we don't care what La Liga says. Super League has nothing to do with UEFA.
and it'll give them more financial incentive to push it, basically, because if they're
Yeah,
financially in trouble, then they're going to have to.
yeah,
I don't know. This is a mess. Players shouldn't be in this situation.
yeah, because they can't even play. They
so
can't be
so
registered by La Liga.
so
So
it's not even that. Like it's not even like they can't play. Barcelona is holding them hostage at their own club because they're signing these contracts, and every single new contract they made this transfer window and last transfer window have $1 billion transfer fee attached to them.
Release clause.
Release clause, yeah,
release
excuse me.
clause, release clause. Yeah,
So these players have to see their 3, 4, 5 year contracts out until the end because no club in their right mind will ever pay $1 billion release clause. Like the most will ever paid was what Neymar, and that was like 200 million from
Yeah.
Barcelona. So
Yeah.
like never. And then so that's the other thing. It just got me thinking of
Yeah.
PSG.
Lewandowski stuck.
So the other thing I was thinking is, they went out and bought all these players, and then there's a press conference with Laporte or Laporta, Barcelona president, and reporter asked him, he's like, "Is Messi going to come back anytime soon?" And he's like, "Oh, I would love to have Messi back." And I'm just like, "Well, why is he back then? You just spent like 200, like 150, 200, 200 million, 250 million euros on like 5 different players to build your project after you sold, your future rights to, whatever.
This
And
isn't a
and then
project.
and then you didn't bring Messi back. Like,
This has to pay off now. You don't get Lewandowski and say, "Oh,
exactly.
this is for the future." That's not a
Exactly.
future payment. Lewandowski is now, and same thing with a bunch
He's
of other players.
33 years old.
Yeah, they have tons of young players, but and incredibly talented, but it's not going to be like the who's the young one? Gavi. Gavi's
Hmm.
fantastic. Like they have fantastic players like that, Pedri, Gavi, but they're not going to be able to carry the team. They're not going to win a Champions League right away. I don't know. My biggest problem is say that they do win the Champions League. That just gives more teams incentives to do what they're doing. This and what they're
Yeah.
doing very wrong. Like, of course, any team, if you ask a team, hey, could you have 400 or like 200, 300 million right now that doesn't impact you at all? You just get it out of nowhere. What is any team going to say? They're like, oh, yes, of course. And then we can like buy all these incredible players. Like Newcastle, I'm sure Newcastle would rather have Lewandowski, Kessié, and Koundé instead of like their line. So, but Newcastle with like the richest team in the world can't get them. How is Barcelona getting them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, just hearing these interviews from at least like Rafinha and Kunde, um, they at least what they've told the press is that Xavi had a big impact of them going to Barcelona. So I don't know what Xavi has been selling them. Maybe Xavi has bought into like the Barcelona fake dream and is just trying to sell it to whoever possible to build this team to be able, because like you're saying, David, like for them to get out of debt and become the team they were like in 2010, they have to start winning everything. They have to win the Copa del Rey. They have to win La Liga. They have to win Champions League. They literally have to like sweep everything, get all the prize money, like, and that will enable more TV rights and more TV money because they're in like all the big games, and so they literally have to start winning everything now to get out of debt now. And by selling, your TV rights for the future, your store rights for the future, all this crazy stuff, it's just like 100% gambling with the club. And yeah, there needs to be a FIFA, not even UEFA investigation. There needs to be a FIFA investigation.
Best. Yeah.
They're like the Spanish government needs to investigate Barcelona. Like this needs to go all the way to the top.
Yeah. One more thing. Oh geez, I lost it. Never mind. Basically I was gonna make a joke and I lost it. The joke
Yeah,
was if here is under tax investigation in Spain, then get Barcelona under investigation as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
So I don't know. I think that there's so much wrong with it. I remember what I was gonna say though. I very much dislike the fact that they were describing all these financial manipulations as levers, as like, oh,
Yes,
we're gonna activate the first lever, we're
yes,
gonna activate the second lever. No, you guys are throwing away your future and gambling and saying we're too big to fail. Try it. Try making us fail. And because of that, they're forcing other people's hands basically by cheating.
yeah,
That's unbelievable. So don't call them levers. Say what it is. Say, hey, we're selling our future. and we're doing what other teams have been told they can't do. We're
Yeah.
too big. We're too good. We don't care. We don't play by the same rules.
No, I
Yeah.
agree, and I'm wondering, La Liga took, I think, a good step in not certifying those players to play, but they didn't take the step that they would have with a mid-level team or a bottom team, which is relegation. I've seen leagues relegate teams because of financial instability. $800 million in debt. They should be relegated, but they're not going to touch Barcelona because they bring in money to La Liga. So they'll just, okay, we're not going to certify your players. They can't play, but we're not going to really touch your club.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what La Liga, or like you said, maybe FIFA or UEFA is going to do in the future. But right now, I don't think that's a good enough step for somebody
It's
like you
definitely a
said, cheating.
standoff. It's a
Yeah,
standoff
it
where
is.
Yeah.
Barcelona is saying try something, and La Liga is like, well, we don't want to besmirch your name. We don't want to do something that will hurt ourselves because we're hurting you. So
Yes.
instead, what we're going to do is we're going to say you guys need to get your act cleaned up, but we'll try doing it as nicely as possible. So
Yes.
it's not a big enough step, and it's not an actual solution to the problem, because if this is allowed, every single other team that can leverage their future is going to. And
Yeah.
it will further throw the whole soccer world into economic disarray.
Oh yeah,
Oh
And,
yeah,
for
you're
sure.
gonna see teams go, and the top teams might be okay because they'll probably get big owners, whatever. But
mhm,
if that starts happening with mid-level teams, you're gonna see them
yeah.
disappear. They're
Yeah.
just gonna go away and go out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I don't mean to over hit this subject, beat the dead horse. I just think that this is a much bigger issue. Like, everyone's complaining, but they don't understand the financial ramifications of what's going on, and it needs to be absolutely investigated, like Charles has been calling for. So do that UEFA, do that FIFA, do that La Liga, do that Spain, do that anyone that can. Like you said, Chelsea, sue them, other people sue them. At least try getting to an investigative process to understand what's going on and saying, how is this being allowed?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For sure. All right, guys. So we're gonna start wrapping this up. Thanks, David, coming out. Thanks, Charles, for coming out and talking. You guys know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next week.